Welcome to the daily study of the Way of Mastery. We continue with Lesson 1, The Way That Calls You Home. And Jeshua says, the insanity does not come from having chosen to see something other than the mind of Christ. The insanity that you experience as your pain, your suffering, your seeking, and your dramas comes only from your mistaken choice to become identified with what arises in the field of your awareness. You therefore lose the sight of innocence, for all events are perfectly neutral and you are free to see them any way you want. So let's break this one down. So right off the bat, Jeshua is acknowledging our insanity, meaning we are not in our right mind when we have chosen to become identified with what we're seeing. And he talks about the insanity that we experience as our pain, our suffering, our seeking, our drama. So when we are experiencing those things, pain, suffering, the seeking, the dramas, we are insane, not in our saneness, in our right mind. And we are so because of our mistaken choice to become identified with what's happening in our field of awareness. Again, the word choice is empowering. Even if it doesn't feel like we are consciously choosing to do so, we are still choosing. It's always our power to choose. We're never victims. This is important. And it's just a mistaken choice. It's just a misplaced choice. Again, to become identified, and that word's in italics, with what arises in the field of our awareness, basically with what's happening in our life. To become identified with it, we lose our sight of innocence. The sight of innocence says, oh, this thing is happening. Doesn't judge it as right or wrong. Doesn't judge it as good or bad. Doesn't make it mean that we're worthy or unworthy. It's just something that's happening. All events are perfectly neutral. And that is an extremely difficult, if not impossible, idea for the ego mind to grasp, that all events are perfectly neutral. What do you mean? Of course it's either good or bad, or it's right or it's wrong, right? We attach all these meanings to it, or the wrong mind attaches and becomes identified with meanings of things and people and situations in our experience. And what could it look like? This would be an incredibly valuable practice for the next couple of days, to see if you can, when you start to judge something as right or wrong, good or bad, see if you can be as neutral as possible. See if you are willing to see the neutrality in what's in front of you. Even in the hard things, like you might lose your job. You might be in the middle of a breakup. You might have gotten into a fender bender yesterday. And our brain wants to say, oh, that's bad. That's not good. I feel bad, therefore that is bad. And this passage is inviting us to bring innocence, to consider that all events are perfectly neutral. And then we are free to see them any way that we want. And this paragraph doesn't get into that per se, because it's in the context of the whole thing, which is seeing the divine in all things, acknowledging the divine in all things, including us, and including the journey that we are on in this life. So a short but powerful passage here. And I hope you get some value from it, and see if you can practice seeing all events as perfectly neutral. Even if your brain can't comprehend that, you can still have that as your intention. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.